Today I want us to do restart lab on introduction to EC2. So basically what we'll be doing is we'll launch our web server with termination protection enabled. So we'll launch an EC2, then we'll launch an Apache web server on it, then we'll monitor EC2 instances, then we'll modify the security group of the web server to allow for HTTP access, then we resize the EC2 instance to scale, then we test the termination protection we used, then we also terminate it. So let's get right into it. I just want to take this instructions to a different screen so that we'll have a better view. So yes, this is my console. Let me just refresh. There. It's taking a while. Okay, so we can straight away go to launch instance from here. Launch instance. For the purpose of this demo, we are just going to name our instance as Cloud Daemon. Then we'll wait for the AMI to load. Yes, so here we are going to pick an AMI. So we have, I don't know if I can show you this, but let me see. We have different types of AMIs. We have quick start AMIs, which are commonly used in the industry. We have custom AMIs or my AMIs, where yes, this is what I'm talking about. You can decide to, maybe you want to run a foundation model, okay, and the EC2 AMIs, the AMIs available don't meet your specification, then you might as well create your own AMI to suit your work, your tasks. Other than that, if there are over thousands of AMIs, if you think that the workload, what you want to do, any of the AMIs could support it, I don't see the need for you to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. And then we have AMIs from the AWS marketplace, which are not for free, and then we have the community AMIs, which anyone at all could post there. But then there's a caveat with the community AMIs, that be sure that you know who the publisher is before you essentially install or launch their AMI, because hackers are around. Obviously, who knows, maybe the AMI you are launching could be a packaged virus, okay, or a script that is going to confiscate your device. Imagine you are doing this on an enterprise scale. You are doomed. Your company is doomed. So just for you. So for the purpose of this lab, the AMI, I'm just going to pick the default one, Amazon Linux 2023 kernel, which is free tier eligible, okay. And then fast forward the instance type to, I'll go for default one, which is T3 micro, which is free tier level, which offers 2 virtual CPU and then 1 gigabyte of data. So that's just that. And ideally we are supposed to create a key pair that will allow us to be able to SSH into our EC2 instance. But for this tutorial, we are not going to SSH into our EC2 instance, but it's good for you to know, it's good to know that you need to create a key pair. So for example, if you have a key pair on your system already, like for example there's Voke, which is a default labs key pair, you can just use that. And if you want to SSH into your EC2 instance, you use that the key here to decrypt it, and you have access to it, especially if you want to do it on the on your terminal. Okay, but for the purpose of this lab, we are not going to choose any key pair, which is not advisable. Okay, which is not advisable though. Okay, then we come to the network settings. Under the network settings, we'll be sure to pick the labs VPC for that one, labs VPC. Yes, you can leave the rest. Then you create your security group. So you have to rename your security. Maybe we'll rename our security group as web server. Okay, then you come to your inbound rules. Just as I said earlier, we are not going to SSH into our EC2, so there may be no need for port 22 opening, so we can just remove it for now. Forgive me, my machine is quite slow. Okay, so we removed this one for now, and then we'll come, when it comes to our storage, we'll pick the default one, which is GP2. Okay, let's go for GP3, and then one, I think. Let me just verify from the instructions we have here. Give me a minute. Yes, so we'll just leave it at the default. That's your EBS volume. Then we'll go to advanced. Okay, so when we go to advanced, okay, you look out for Remember earlier I said we're going to enable the termination prevention, so we'll look out for termination prevention and enable it. That way when somebody tries to terminate the instance, it won't, because there's kind of like a lock on it. Okay, you can decide to enable hibernating behavior of your instance. You can decide to put a stop protection, nobody can stop your instance, and all of those stuff. You can decide to do cloud trail monitoring, enable a detailed one. That will by extension mean that you are getting an easy CloudWatch agent. Okay, because by default CloudWatch cannot collect logs from EC2 instances. Okay, so yes, that's just that. Then other stuffs that for the purpose of this tutorial may not be needed. So we come to the user data. So the user data is basically a script that is run once, okay, at boot start or boot time of an EC2 instance. What it does is that it is used to install packages, it is used to install patches and updates once an EC2 is runs for the first time. So I'm going to copy a script from the instruction. Okay, it's a bash script. So essentially what this script is doing is that it's a ship. If you want to do a bash script, you do a shebang bin bash, then it's yum y yum-y install httpd. So essentially it is installing the Apache web server, okay, and it is asking it to enable it and start it, and then echo this or print this hello from web servers. So we are going to change this for avoidance of doubt to hello from Cloud Daemon Foundation. We'll be sure that this is working actually on our end as well. So hello from Cloud Daemon Foundation. Okay, so yes, we have this here. So we can decide to write there and then launch our EC2 instance, and if all is fine, we'll be able to launch our EC2 instance. So you can view the summary here. We are using the Amazon Linux. Okay, it's gone. So we are launching our EC2 instance. It should be ready in a bit. Instance launch field, the security group web server already exists for VPC blah blah blah. So let's just edit the instance configuration. Okay, so I think it was from the security group. Okay, so I had created a security group earlier, then why don't I just use that for that matter? Okay, so let me just go to use existing security group and select it. It's the same web server. Yes, this was a web server. Yes, so if you by adventure had created a security group and you forgot, and then you were creating and use the same name, it will definitely pull an error for you. So that's a lesson to learn from there. That's great. Awesome. Yes, so I think this time around our EC2 launch. Yes, voila, and successfully EC2 has been launched. So let's scroll down and go to view all instances. View all instances. Yes, and you see the name of our EC2 Cloud Daemon. The instance ID is here. The instance state is running T3 micro. The status check is initializing. We have the option to add alarms. The AZ is the availability zone is in the public IPv4 address, elastic IP, and all of those things that talks about it. So if you want to know more or details of it, just check this box. When you check this box down here, you see the details you need and more concerning your EC2 instance. Okay, I think it didn't check, so let me check it again. Great. So at the details section, you see your instance ID, your IPv4 public address, everything about the instance is here. Everything about the instance is here. So if we want to be able to access our instance, okay, we can just come here and pick the public DNS, the public IPv4 address. So I'll just open it in another tab, okay, or the domain name server, the DNS, okay, this one, the DNS. So definitely what I've opened is not going to show, not going to work. There will not have access to the EC2 instance because of security group issues. Remember, we deleted the SSH because we're not going to need it, and there was nothing allowing for HTTP. Definitely when you finish loading, I'll go there for you to see that it didn't access it. So we can view your status and alarms from here too as well. If you want to see your CloudWatch metrics and do some investigation, you know, some of the features access has been denied for us. Okay, so see some of the metrics here that are available to you, and recently launched alarm instances can take up to 5 minutes to display associated alarms. So probably if you have set an alarm for it and all of those stuff, it will be easier. Now let's refresh it and see if a status check has been met. Now we have three types of status. Sorry, we have three different kinds of status checks for EC2 instances. We have the system status check, and then we have the EC2 instance status check, and then we have the Apache BS volume status check. So if you take a look at this side, you see that 3/3 status check. So it has passed the status check. So when you come here, you see system reachability check passed, instance reachability check passed, and then Apache EBS reachability check passed. So it means that we are good to go. Now let's go to the monitoring and see what we can get here too. When you come to the monitoring, you see more of alarms and recommendations and CloudWatch details that you may need. So this is just you can configure the CloudWatch, as I said earlier. By default, it's not it doesn't collect logs from EC2 instance, so you can configure it from here, and you can decide to manage detail monitoring and all of those stuff. So when we see what we have here, a bunch of your securities, your inbound rules and group and all of those stuff, you find them here. Then when you come to networking, you see your VPC, your subnet, your AZ, all of this information can be found here. So yes, that is just that. I want to finish up and do something. I want us to go to actions, okay, and go to monitor and troubleshoot, and then go to get instance screenshot. Yes, so when you come here, okay, you can see screenshot of your instance. So for example, if this screenshot is for if our, as we have launched to instance, okay, if the EC2 instance had a monitor or had a screen, this is what will come up when it was booting, and after it has booted, this is what you see. Okay, so that's just by the way. So we can essentially go back. I wanted to show that I'm not able to access the EC2 instance, so a bit, I think it's still loading. I'll just get right to it in a moment. Let me see if I can access it. the instance type from T3 to T3 micro to T3 small. And then the next thing we have to do is that we'll have to change the EBS volume, right? So on your far left, when you scroll down to EBS, you have volumes here where you can take snapshots. You can do the lifecycle manager. So you click on the volumes so that you can access the EBS that you may want to change. Okay, so what we have here is that the size is 8 gigabits. So let's try and see if we can change it, increase it to 10 or something. Let's see. Okay, so let's modify and see if it works. If it works, great. If it doesn't, okay, I think we can. Nice. So yes, I think everything is intact. So we can go back to our instance and then restart our instance. Okay, or start our instance if that is the right way. Let me refresh here. Okay, so let's go to instance state. Then a minute. Probably connect. No, not connect. Oh, so it's running. Haha. I don't know how it happened, but apparently it's running. So, and the checks are active. Not had increased the BS. Could have just come to instance state and started. Okay. I think my mouse was faster than the mind, I guess. So we can just so yeah. So from here we'll just try to delete and see if it works. If it doesn't, then we know is the deletion protection, if that's the right word. Yeah, the termination protection that we enabled that is causing that. You see, the other time when we did it, it took like forever before it could reflect. So probably that is the same issue we are facing here. So it will be a long while before we will be able to access it. This proves to not be working. Okay, so let me open it again. Hopefully it will work. It didn't work. Let me try the DNS. Guys, it will definitely work. It's just that it will have to take a while and we have to keep refreshing, and unfortunately we don't have much of a time. So when you try it at your end, let me know in the comment if it worked. Okay, like earlier it took a while before it worked. So now let's after this refresh, I'll just try this for the last time and then delete the instance. Okay. So yes, just delete the instance and terminate it. Let's terminate it. It's not working. Why? It's not working. Why? So I think we skipped an important information from here that told us that you have deletion protection on. So deletion protection is on. So when you press it, it's just like it brings you back. So yes, that's what I wanted to draw attention to. But if you want to delete it, I think you just come to let's say yes, the instance settings, then you change the termination protection, then from there you can delete it successfully. You enable it, then you save. I think right now we can terminate our instance. Yes, so let's terminate. Did you see disable the termination protection? Yes, so we can terminate it now successfully. This should work in a while. So you see it's shutting down. Okay, so we'll come back to this to verify. But one thing that I normally love to do is to come to the dashboard. It gives you an overview of any related resource to your EC2 that is still alive. So you look at your resources. For example, if you leave elastic IPs unused, okay, you'll be charged for that, but you are not charged for using elastic IPs. But if you unattach, you don't release them, you'll be charged for that. So for example, see that one instance is around, I see one volume is around, and if I want to delete this key pair, I could just delete it. I'm